In English, sometimes the simplest looking sentences can be the most confusing. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important tools you will ever use, the simple present tense. It's how we talk about facts, habits, and routines. And by the end of this, you're going to have it mastered. So let's start with this. This is probably the first puzzle that trips up everybody learning English. It's a super common question, and it seems a little weird, right? I mean, why does one tiny letter, an S, make such a big difference? Stick with me, because I promise you, the answer is way simpler than you think. All right, let's get the official definition out of the way. What it really boils down to is this. The simple present tense is for things that don't really change. We're talking about actions that happen over and over, like your morning routine, and facts that are just always true, like the sun rising in the east. So that's the big idea right there. We use this tense for all the constants in our lives and in the world around us. Now, let's dive into how it actually works. Yep, that's it. Simple as that. If it's a fact, a habit, or just a general truth, you're in simple present territory. It's the tense of reliability. And the best part? The whole thing follows two very, very simple patterns. Okay, here we go. This is the main event. Pretty much every single rule we're about to talk about comes from this one simple split. Once you get this, everything else just kind of clicks into place. And there it is. This is the whole game right here. See, on one side, you've got I, you, we, and they. For them, the verb just stays in its regular simple form, like, go, speak. But then you have the other team, he, she, or it. And that's where the verb gets that little S or ES tacked on to the end. That is the core rule. So let's zoom in on that second group, the he, she, it crew. Because honestly, this is where most people get a little tangled up. The spelling for that third-person verb might seem tricky, but it actually follows three really simple rules. Okay, so here are the three rules. For most verbs, you just slap an S on the end. Walk becomes walks, simple. Now, for the second rule, if a verb ends in a hissing or buzzing sound like sh or ch, we add es, just to make it easier to say. Think about it. Watch is hard, but watches is easy. And last one, if a verb ends in a consonant and then a Y, like study, you drop the Y and add ies. That's it. And there's always got to be that one weird exception, right? Well, here it is. The verb have doesn't become haves, no way. It completely changes to has. So you say, I have, but she has. Definitely lock that one away in your memory. All right, so we've got the positive sentences down. But what happens when we want to ask a question or say no? Well, for that, we need to call in a couple of special helpers. Let me introduce you to our two little helping verbs, do and does. Think of these guys like special tools that you only pull out for two very specific jobs, making negative sentences and asking questions. And I bet you can already guess who does works with. Yup, it's our specialist for he, she, and it. Okay, let's take a simple positive sentence. She likes pizza. See that S on the end of likes? Now watch what happens when we change it. To make it negative, we bring in our helper does plus not to make doesn't. But, and this is super important, look what happened. The S on like is gone. It vanished. Why? Well, because our little helper verb does has already taken the S. The rule is you only need it once. The helper takes care of it for us. And it's the exact same idea when you ask a question. The helper does just jumps to the front of the line. And again, look, the main verb, like, is back in its simple original form, no S. Does is doing all the heavy lifting. So now we've got the how down pat. Let's talk about the when. As in, when do you actually use this thing in real life? Well, there are four main situations you really need to know. It's pretty straightforward. You'll use it for things like facts that never change, for your daily habits and routines, to talk about what you like and dislike, and for one special case, talking about future events that are on a fixed schedule. Let's check out a quick example for each one. First up, a fact. The Earth revolves around the sun. This is a scientific truth. It was true yesterday, it is true today, and it will be true tomorrow. This is the perfect job for this simple present tense. Next, a classic habit or routine. I get up at 8 o'clock every day. This is something that repeats. So whenever you're talking about your daily schedule or things you do regularly, every day, every week, every summer, boom, you use the simple present. Now, this one's a little tricky, but it's really cool. We're talking about something happening in the future, right? But because it's a fixed, scheduled event, like a plane or a train timetable, we use the simple present. You can almost think of the schedule itself as a kind of fact. So we say the train arrives, not the train will arrive. And to wrap it all up, here is everything we talked about all in one place. Seriously, this slide is your ultimate cheat sheet. If you can just burn this into your brain, especially that he, she, it row and when to use do and does, you've basically got this whole thing licked. And that's really all there is to it. We've broken down the whole thing. You now have the complete toolkit for one of the most essential tenses in English. So what's next? Well, you've got to use it. So think about it. What's a fact you know? What's a habit you have? How are you going to use the simple present tense today?